Hello and welcome to another Yu-Gi-Oh video, and today I'm going to be taking you through the deck which I took to the Brotherhood Regional 2019. It's pretty awful, but somehow I still managed to come out with more wins than losses. So let me just discuss sort of the concept before we get into it. So I decided to build a Yazi turbo deck. Initially this began as just the simple fact that Yazi is obviously a pop and a link 4, which is kind of insane on its own. I then set out to build it similarly in style to what I believe Calvin Tahan goes for when he goes, I want to summon Buster as many times as possible because it's the best card in the game. I just sort of went with the assumption that Yazi is probably also a very good card, maybe the second best card in the game. It's almost Exodia, I guess. And then I realised, actually, you know what, if you have to run Yazi and summon it multiple times, then you have to play multiple Meme, so I didn't bother with that. So this is just summon Yazi once, and if you win, you win. If you lose, you lose. That's just kind of how it goes. So for this event, I didn't want to play an FTK. I'd already had my regional top with an FTK, and all my friends basically tell me that I can't do well except without it, so maybe that's true. Deciding not to play one was probably my first mistake. Then, also there are tons of Go Second cards which are just available and good at the moment, like Evenly Matched. Slumber is now back at 3, which is kind of silly. Borosword is a dumb card, and therefore because Yazi makes Borosword, Yazi is also a dumb card. So that's kind of the concept behind the deck. It tries to turbo out Yazi. You go blind second, you summon Yazi. If it resolves, you win. If it doesn't resolve, you lose. That's basically all there is to it. So let's run through the list, and I'll try and explain some of the theory behind it as well. So now Cyberstein is out, so this is a 1-card Yazi, which I'll explain when I get to the extra deck, just because of the most powerful extra deck monster in the game, according to Konami themselves. 1 Armageddon Knight, obviously this sends Destrudo, so triple Destrudo, because every time you have a normal summon you need to be able to summon a Yazi, and then 2 more copies of Destrudo basically. This has some nice utility with the rest of the deck. This can probably be bumped up if you want to change the way that the deck works. There are probably too many searches within the rest of the deck, so you do have a hard time dealing with Thunder sometimes. So I think I might strip down the rest and then put this up a little bit. But that's basically the 1 cards and the Destrudos, and then obviously we have to play Meme because this card is silly when you get it out of a Yazi. So Konami also brought back, as well as Cyberstein, they brought back a lovely Shaddoll fusion monster, so why not play triple Shaddoll fusion, Hedgehog, Falco, and Dragon. So you need Falco and Hedgehog for the combo, which I'll show at the end of the video, which allows Shaddoll Fusion to be a 1-card Yazi, which is essentially game right there, and then Shaddoll Dragon is extra utility. I decided to play 3 Shadolls because after the first time you resolve Shaddoll Fusion, if your Shaddoll leaves the field, you'll get back your Shaddoll Fusion, but you won't have anything that you can summon with it, so you need another Shaddoll left in deck, so that's why you play the 3rd one basically. Then some more fusion cards. This brings out the most powerful extra deck monster in the game. And then, as I mentioned, Slumber is obviously a silly card, so we play 3 of it and a bunch of Kaijus because it just makes the Sky Striker matchup completely free if you resolve any of these or summon these, unless they have like a Widow Anchor, but you're more likely, sorry, not a Widow Anchor, a, what's it called? Eagle Booster, but you're more likely to see these guys anyway, and if they resolve Eagle Booster then you should all fusions live, so where's the issue really? So the rest of the Go Second cards, triple evenly, you just wreck boards basically. When I was building this, initially I figured that Altergeist and Sky Striker would be pretty popular still. It turns out that Sky Striker is still popular because so many people have learned to play it and just happy that it's stuck around. But a lot of Altergeist players weren't playing the deck because they couldn't get Extravagant, so they didn't want to play a worse version of the deck. And still, you know, it's slightly less consistent than things like Guru Control, so people just sort of switched over to that in a lot of cases. But then triple impermanence as well. This seemed more impactful than Ash Blossom at the time, because sometimes you do, with the searches in the deck, you do lose to Thunder Dragon, so you need something that you can play against them on when you go second and they set up at double Colossus, so you need this and like an instant fusion or this and a Kaiju or something. So that helps out a lot there. I think this is definitely a good option to play, and I would definitely keep it in the deck for the future. And then for the rest of the hand traps, played the Gamma Engine because this is a pure going second deck. On top of that, if you activate the effect of Yazi to pop something, and on both sides of the field, it will be in the grave, you won't have any monsters on board, and then when you attempt to summon Meme from deck, people ash you then. So you just Gamma them, and then you have 2 additional materials and you win, which is really silly. And then we need more ways to push through things like Ash, so just triple Call by the Grave allows you to make sure that your Yazi definitely turns out okay. If you don't resolve Yazi, then you probably lost that game because this deck doesn't do anything. So to go with the instant fusion, it summons a level 5 tuner, and because of that we need ways to make level 2 monsters. So I went through Dueling Book and I looked for all of the special summon level 2 monsters or just level 2 effect monsters, and looked at all of them in turn and tried to figure out what would be the best way to fill up the rest of the gaps within the deck. And as a result I've actually managed to go over the size of the deck, because you do need a lot of ways to see your level 2 monsters. So this is actually the best level 2 monster. Lilybell is a special summon if you search it, which means that you can do 8k with like Candina and like Instant Fusion or Destrudo, as well as a pop and a Spell Trap pop, which is really kind of silly if you think about it. Other options could have been stuff like Wind Up Kitten, which just like bounces the Thunder Dragon, which is really stupid, but it doesn't do anything else. And like Gaga Girl lets you search Gaga Bolt, but you can't even do that if there's a Colossus on board anyway, and so it has the same weaknesses as this engine. I think the only advantage is you get to like pop a random card instead of just pop a Spell or Trap, which doesn't really help things out, unfortunately. But it does mean you can run more level 2, so I'm probably going to switch this engine up in the future. I just don't know what to replace it with, because there isn't a good enough level 2 engine, and frogs, well, we don't play enough waters in this deck. So because we're playing Lilybell, we need ways to summon it. So the best way to get to it is via a Candina or Light Stage, obviously, since all of these allow you to special summon it. Candina, as I said, Candina with Destrudo or Candina with Instant Fusion is 8k, which I'll show at the end with the basic combo. And then if you're playing this many Trickstar cards, you kind of have to play these guys, and these two were probably a mistake. I think you can actually get away with cutting these two out of the deck. You need something for when you go first, because sometimes people make you go first and you just kind of lose. But beyond that, I don't think the second reincarnation is relevant. You're never in a grind game. If you're in a grind game, you've lost. If you're like, if the game that you're in has lasted more than about 7 minutes, you've probably lost that game, because all that this deck does is try to summon Yazi and then win that turn. And if you haven't won that turn, then your opponent is probably going to build up advantage a lot faster than you, because this deck has basically zero recovery outside of this engine. And just searching reincarnation or just searching for another way to summon Candina is not a good enough strategy in the 2019 January format. So onto the extra deck then. Obviously play Yazi. Best card in the extra deck, I guess. Not best card according to Konami, but we'll come on to that in a bit. This card was absolutely like stupid the whole time. It's really good. I don't get why there's the option to pop something and summon a Boral Sword, and like you can make a Phoenix along the way. So actually Candina with Insta Fusion is stop a Spell or Trap until the end phase, pop a Spell or Trap and pop any card, and then Boral Sword and do a like it's really silly that this kind of thing can allow it to happen, and this can be a 1-card play. Dawn Dragster, I needed another level 7. There's actually a mistake in this extra deck. This is the one that I took to Brotherhood, but the night before I'd realised that one of the cards in here doesn't need to be in here and should have been switched out for something else, which would either be a 3rd level 7 or a Trishula. But this allows you to do some weird plays where you can like bounce your opponent's board with Brio, or like wipe your opponent's board with a load of the like Spell Trap removal and the Yazi and the Trickstar Light Stage, and then you can just like sit on this and your opponent can't play if you're going up against Striker or something, but then they've probably got 4 cards in hand, so it doesn't actually matter. Brio, because you have to bounce Thunder Dragon somehow. And then onto the fusions. The best card in the game according to Konami, or at least the best extra deck monster in the game. It's a tuner. That's literally all it is. It's a level 5 tuner, which allows you to play a cheaper Destrudo basically every time you see a level 2. Exterio, because Cyberstein exists. Cyberstein with this is actually how you make Yazi. Cyberstein with this is how you just win out of silly situations. Thousand Eyes for the instant fusions. Then Tusha Dolls. This card got unbanned, so we may as well play it. It's actually not very good, so I can see why they unbanned it. This card is okay because it allows you to make a 1-card Yazi, but apart from that, the Tusha Dolls didn't really do anything. For the linked monsters, 1 Link Rebo, you need it for the combo. Space Insulator, you don't actually need it. I think I used it once where it was relevant, but you could definitely drop it and play something better in here. like the Link side of things is kind of a shambles. Phoenix and Unicorn definitely worth keeping in. I should have summoned this in round 7 and I didn't, and this is just great in general. Trisbana is for the wipe your opponent's board and then kill them combo. Bomber fits into the end of that combo where you do the killing them. And then Borosword is obviously free OTKs forever. Then to go with the extra deck, obviously we're playing Mare, which means we need some lovely tokens. So playing the 4 Perry tokens, and then the 5th giant Perry token, just in case the 5th one ever does come up. For the side deck, initially I was just going to run a ton of Floodgates, because this deck can't actually play going first. There are just too many cards in the deck that would need to come out, unfortunately. So I decided not to play Floodgates, because I could never, like, you want to be taking out 15-ish cards when you're going first, maybe more. And as a result, there aren't 15 Floodgates that you can just side into every matchup. So I kind of decided that I would just take the auto loss against Thunder on occasion, and take the auto loss against being made to go first. And instead, I would just run more hand traps that were versatile. So triple draw, because you can draw reincarnation people, which I actually did once in this deck, which is silly. Triple Pancratops, because you can out the Azathoth play, which I didn't actually face. And that never happened to me, so it wasn't an issue, but it could have been good there. Triple Ash, because it's probably the most versatile hand trap. Double Lancia, this could probably be 3 and replace something else, I think. It's a Floodgate and a hand trap. Like Droll is also a Floodgate and a hand trap, which is good. Triple Twisters for back row decks. I don't know if back row decks are particularly prevalent at the moment. I mean, it's basically just Striker and some other control decks. And then 1 Imperial Order. Doubling the chances of seeing like negate every spell seems pretty good to me, so I figured I would just play this as the last card. So that is it for the list itself. Let's go on to some of the combos then. If you're interested in the matches that I played, so I ended up going X3. There was a time when I had an 80% win rate with this trash. So check out I think I'll put it in the comment section or the description. I'll put a full breakdown of all my rounds and my opponents, just so you have some idea of everything that this deck faced against. And check out the combos coming up. Alright, so the aim of the game is obviously to summon out this guy, and there are a few ways to do it. Some of them are pretty obvious. Obviously you can normal summon your Armageddonite and use it to send Destrudo, pay half your life points, summon it back, and then just make the Yazi from there. With the Cyberstein, you can normal summon it, pay 5,000, summon out Theseus, and then synchro with these two in order to make your Yazi. What are some of the other ways? So the Shaddoll Fusion play, obviously you're going second. You can play Shaddoll Fusion, use it to send any darks, let's say Destrudo and a Shaddoll Hedgehog to the grave. From there, that allows you to summon out the Winder, so let's just find the Winder. And then the Hedgehog will search for your Falco. Now keep in mind you're not going to be able to special summon twice now that you've got the Winder on board. So all you do is just normal summon the Falco, and then synchro with these two into your Yazi, and then you can add back the Shaddoll Fusion thanks to the Winder, which is pretty nice too. So that's the Shaddoll Fusion play. Obviously it does involve a search, which is kind of unfortunate because it means you can't play it through Thunder Dragons. But then there are some other ways of doing things. So Instant Fusion with your level 2, gets you into your Yazi planes thanks to Theseus being a level 5 tuner. So that can be just like a light stage, adding a Lilybell and then special summon it, or you can do some funky plays with Candina. So the typical 8k is you normal summon Candina. Let's put it down here. Normal summon Candina, use it to add the light stage, activate the light stage, use the light stage to add the Lilybell and special the Lilybell. Then you can play either Instant Fusion or Destrudo. Obviously this is the cheapest version. That summons out your Sea Monster of Theseus. And then from there you can synchro with these two into your Yazi. And then because this guy is going to do 2k damage thanks to the light stage, when this becomes a Borosword, you're able to do 8k plus, which is kind of silly through a monster. And the fact that you can pop something as well, even beyond that, is also kind of silly. Plus you get an extra pop with your Nightmare Phoenix through that play too. So that's a fun way to do things. Are there any other one card? No, I don't think there are any other one card Yazis within the deck. However, there are some pretty cool things you can do. So let's say you resolve a slumber, or just find any way to give your opponent a kaiju essentially. Give yourself a kaiju. And then we'll just summon out a Yazi in, I guess, any typical way. So we'll just do the same way as before. So we'll summon the Candina, use it to add the light stage, and then use the light stage to add that Lilybell and the special up. And then just go with the whole like instant fusion thing again, summon back the Theseus, and synchro with these two into Yazi. Now the opponent isn't able to use any of their Sky Striker spells or spells, sorry. Not that it's relevant because this guy is untargetable, which is the only one you actually care about. But use this to pop something on their field that isn't the kaiju. Sorry, the kaiju's here. Use it to pop something on their field that isn't the kaiju. Bring out your Mehmet. And then from here you can summon one of your tokens, summon another token, use these two to make your space insulator. You can actually do this with Phoenix instead if you want. Summon a third token, link these two into your Trisbana, and then you can turn this into your Link Rebo, which will of course banish it. And all of the back row and this light stage as well. Your opponent takes a ton of damage for that, and then what you can do is you can actually link these two into the Bomber Dragon, and then when you attack over this it does guaranteed 3k, so you'll have 3 plus 3/3 is 6/3, and if you've done 2k off the back row dealings damage, then you've just won the game from there. So that's kind of a sort of more unusual, but it does come up, it's pretty interesting. And every now and again you just get that little bit of advantage from it. However, this might be something that I end up cutting from the deck just because I want a little bit more versatility from the different Yazi plays. Thanks for watching this video. If you have any comments or suggestions on changes that you would make to this list, how you'd run it in the future, let me know in the comment section down below. There are a few other one-card Yazis that you can use, things like Speedroid Terratop is one. However, that does of course use your normal summon, and it's a one card that searches another card, so it's a little bit iffy. But if you have any ideas, let me know. I'm interested to see any updates that could happen to this deck. And are you interested in playing Yazi Turbo Attack for Game?